Iran's calling out President Trump over his claim that the U.S. is in full control of the Strait of Hormuz. Tehran says the strait remains blocked and will stay that way until its conditions are met. Retired four-star General Jack Keane joins me now. General, do you expect Iran to become more aggressive as we approach the midterms?
Well, if you look at their pattern of behavior, since we've gone to the ceasefire back on April the 7th, and remember, we went to the ceasefire because they wanted to negotiate over the Straits of Hormuz, and they had imposed their will on it on March the 2nd after we began operations on February the 28th. And I think from April the 7th and supposedly trying to we're under a ceasefire, which was on again, off again, they have continuously become more aggressive in terms of frequency of attacks, going all the way back 4 months now. And I think as we get closer to the midterms, it's likely they will. And the reason for that is because they believe in their head now that they have something of an upper hand here, Stuart, because we went to the ceasefire over oil and gas prices and the impact of the midterms. And as we get closer to the midterms, they think the less likelihood that President Trump would ever react very consequentially in terms of military operations. In other words, they think they can get away with it and force concessions out of the United States. That's kind of their strategy. But they have miscalculated time and time again dealing with this president, Stuart. And if that's their game plan, and it could very well be, they're going to miscalculate here because he absolutely will come down hard on them as a result of it.
Next one, a different subject, General. The Wall Street Journal reports that earlier this year, U.S. troops went head-to-head against Ukrainian drone operators in a military exercise. Ukraine apparently won easily. Should we be worried about that?
No, and I'm not trying to be dismissive here. The United States military, and particularly the Army, has been all over what is going on in Ukraine. I have been to 5 Army exercises in 2 years, applying lessons learned in Ukraine to Army troops and giving the opposing force the Army is going up against, which are U.S. troops, behaving like Russian troops, giving them as much capability as we possibly can to replicate the Russian troops, and giving our troops as much as we can to replicate some of the capabilities that the Ukrainians have developed. So I've seen one of these exercises in Germany, 2 in the United States, 1 in the jungle in Hawaii, and 1 up in the cold in the winter in Alaska. And we're adapting and learning from it. If we take 2 battalions or 2 brigades, tactical units, and throw them at each other, and the United States Army is not tuned into its divisions, its corps, its joint task forces, its air power, and all the things. We're an echelon army. The Ukrainians fight at a tactical level only, and they're up against pretty incompetent Russians who are poorly trained and poorly led. And the reality is the Ukrainian military is by far the best military in Europe today. Nobody comes close to them, to include the Russians, and that's a fact. And they're consequential. But where the Army will take the Ukrainians' lessons learned and apply them will go beyond what Ukraine is doing in terms of where the Army will take it, because we fight at a level of echelon, and we will return maneuver to the battlefield. Right now there's a stalemate. The tanks aren't moving, the artillery's not moving. The Army will be able to return that operational maneuver because we will suppress drones in a very consequential way, because we fight at different echelons. We fight at battalion, brigade, division, corps, and JTF level, all of them taking a segment of the battlefield. Don't want to overcomplicate it for our audience, but we're a different organization completely from Ukraine is the message. But listen, I don't want to take anything away from what the Ukrainians have achieved on the battlefield. They have fundamentally changed warfare. They have done it. And it's their innovation and their determination and will to stand up against these Russians who are barbarians themselves, and they deserve to be killed on that battlefield, given their attacks on civilians and the rest of it. They deserve to be thrown out of that country by the Ukrainians with our help and the Europeans.
Yeah,
so I applaud what they've done,
Yeah.
but we're making too much of it.
Okay. Last one. The U.S. will pull the remaining troops out of Iraq by the end of September. We've been there for 20 years. Why pull out of Iraq now when the Iran war continues?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's largely because that's what the Iraqi government wants to do, and that's what their parliament wants to do. I think there's good and bad associated with it. What we have for the first time in the government in Iraq today is a government that truly is willing to stand up to the Iranian influence in Iraq. The other governments all made compromises, and some of them received a fair amount of money from the Iranians. This government is standing up against them, so much so that the Iranian-backed militias that are Iraqi militias backed by Iran and have been attacking U.S. troops in Iraq and Syria for years, and are also aiding what is taking place, what Iran is doing in the war against the United States. They want them out, and they want to disarm them. That has never happened before. And he also is asking, it's going to be a lot easier for me to do this if the U.S. troops are not present here and we don't have a political issue with U.S. occupiers. Listen, we're not occupiers, but, you know, people use it politically, foreign troops on our soil. So he wants that out. He's willing to accept some of the risk that ISIS may come back, and that's why we were there. We're there primarily to help train the Iraqis and keep our eyes with our intelligence on ISIS and make certain they don't come back.
Let's hope
but
it
this is
works.
probably overall a good thing.
Okay.
Overall a good thing. We'll see.
General Jack Keane, always a pleasure. Come and see us again soon. Thank you very much, General. Thank you.